This video, as usual, did not go the way I planned, which is actually good for you because you get to follow my failed experiment that turned into a pretty interesting lesson in Aircrete and Xanthan gum. It all started when I saw the YouTuber Nighthawk make Aircrete. He used ingredients you can find almost anywhere, and the process looked really simple. I thought, that has to be possible to do myself. How hard can it be? Watch the video and you'll find out just how hard it can be. My original plan was to cast a big wall panel for future building projects, but luckily I changed my mind. I went smaller instead and made a panel for a planter box. Sometimes it's smart to scale the ideas down. In this video I'm also testing an AI voice to help tell the story of what I'm doing. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. First, I build a split mold to cast in. I use leftover 22mm floorboards from a house build. I stack 2 boards on top of each other to make the mold split in the middle and to get a good way to place the reinforcement mesh in the center. I mount short pipe sections in each end, mirrored to each other. The idea is that they will hold the panels together once they are finished, if they turn out good enough to use. I tape all the edges with black duct tape so the Aircrete won't stick to the sides of the mold. Then I attach a nylon reinforcement mesh. With a staple gun. Next time I'll probably just clamp it in place because stapling it took way too much time. I put the 2 halves of the mold together. And then lay down a sheet of plastic underneath to act as the bottom. Now the mold is ready and it's time to play chemist. At this point I still think I'll just mix a creamy, airy concrete, fill the mold quickly and get a really nice result. I'm not a chemist and I'm terrible at sticking to recipes. So I like to freestyle a bit and go by feel. Yeah, if you notice what I'm doing wrong or see any obvious mistakes, please tell me in the comments. I start by pulling out the ingredients: cement, Xanthan gum, the magic component, glycerin, alcohol, in this case mouthwash and fuel alcohol, yes, dish soap and water. I mix the Xanthan with mouthwash. Then add glycerin, dish soap and water. I mix 2 parts cement with 1 part Xanthan mix. There's a lot of dust, so you really should wear a respirator here. Then I just start whisking until it turns into a smooth, fluffy mix. This is probably where I make my next mistake and whisk for too long. I push too much air. Into it. It might also be that there's not enough cement in the mix. You'll see the result a bit later. I fill the mold, and at first it actually looks really good. but as you can see, it collapses very quickly. That was not expected, and definitely not what I wanted. Now it's time to clear all the snow. Any excuse to drive an old tractor is fun. I do get rid of the snow. But not without a few issues along the way. Then it's time for a second batch. That one doesn't really go as planned either. I mix xanthan with alcohol to get the smoothest mix I can. When I still get lumps, I grab the stick blender. It's a 600 watt mixer that's usually great. And here comes the next mistake. Let's just say this one hurt a lot. But I go again. I add glycerin. Pour in some water. It clumps up as soon as the glycerin goes in, but maybe that's a good thing. Who knows? Then I add dish soap. This time I whip up a thick foam before adding the cement. I keep whisking until the foam looks really thick and even. Whisk, whisk, whisk. After that, I add 2 liters of cement to 1 liter of xanthan mix. Then it's time to whisk again until everything is well combined. Whisk, whisk, whisk. I pour the mix into the molds. Unfortunately, it feels like there's way too much air, way too much fluff. What do you think? Too airy? Then it hits me. Maybe our water is too hard. Maybe softer water would work better. Luckily, there's unlimited snow right now, so I melt snow in a clean bucket to get the softest water possible. The hope is that it will foam better and give a stronger foam. The water is still ice cold and barely melted, so I warm it up a bit before I continue. Now I mix the next batch, and this time I go more by feel. The idea is not to whisk it as much as before. I wet and mix the cement first, before adding the Xanthan mix. I think this works better. I fill the molds again and put lids on to keep the moisture in while it cures. Now I'm on the fourth mix. First I prepare the Xanthan blend, then I wet the cement with water, a bit of dish soap and some glycerin, trying to get it as even as possible without using too much water. After that I pour in the Xanthan mix and stir it into a smooth even mass. I pour this batch into a plastic bag to see how it cures when it's fully sealed. I also pour some leftovers into a few small containers so I can compare the results later. Here you can see the casting from the second batch. It also shows pretty clearly how the first batch turned out. And here's the result from the fourth batch. It has hardened, but it's absolutely not stable or strong enough. If you know how long this should cure, let me know in the comments. This piece has cured for about 2 days. I'm not sure if it would improve with a few more days. These ones actually turned out pretty good, but they're a bit heavy. They're from the third batch and contain roughly 50% air. The weight is 1,400 grams compared to 1,500 grams for a denser piece. In this bucket I've got the leftovers from the other tests. There's also a fifth batch in here curing, so there are definitely more lessons coming.